Hello, you, and welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today, we're really excited to jump into the world of wool. We've got the April 2025 newsletter from the Deventer Shopskuta Wool Project, or DSW.
That's right. DSW, for anyone new listening, is this fantastic project in Deventer. It's all about the local sheep, their wool, really focusing on local sustainable stuff. It's driven by a lot of passion.
Absolutely. And this newsletter, it just feels so cheerful, doesn't it? It's packed with updates on all the different things they're doing.
It really is. Gives you a great window into their work, a very celebratory feel to it all.
Okay, so let's dig in. They start with a bit of a look back, which I always find interesting.
Yeah, they talk about their journey, how it started with this initial idea, something about a Fibershed Nederland platform, and how that sort of, evolved and grew into the DSW project we see today.
Right. And Fibershed Nederland, just to remind everyone, is this kind of network connecting growers, producers, designers, all within a local region.
Exactly, building that local textile system. And DSW was involved right from the start, helping build that foundation.
And they just had their 9th anniversary. It was Saturday, May 3rd, so that's just passed. A big happy belated birthday to the DSW team.
9 years, that's quite something. And it's great they mentioned that connection, how they're still involved with Fibershed Nederland, which Martien Nieuwenhuis and Stientje Jaspers founded.
It really shows how their core values, the sustainability, the local focus, respecting the animals and the land, it all fits perfectly with that bigger Fibershed vision.
It really does. It's all about a more responsible way of thinking about textiles and wool.
Definitely. And speaking of celebrating their journey, there's this lovely story in the newsletter about a gift, a plaid called Peen.
Ah, yes, the Peen plaid. That was a thank you, wasn't it? For all the project members, for their dedication over the years.
Kind of anticipating their big 10-year anniversary next year. Such a nice gesture.
Really thoughtful. And the details are interesting, too. It's made mostly from Kempish Heidershapen wool, blended with some Dutch merino wool for softness, I imagine, and produced by Knitwit Stable,
who are also part of Fibershed, based in Bambrugge. It keeps it all connected.
It does, though it mentions part of the process, the washing and spinning, actually happens in Italy.
Yeah, I saw that. Before it comes back to Knitwit for the knitting.
It just highlights that ongoing goal, doesn't it? Trying to get the entire wool production process happening right here in the Netherlands.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder, what are the main roadblocks there? Is it infrastructure, cost, maybe specific skills?
That's a key question, I think. Rebuilding those local supply chains is complex. You need the right machinery, maybe specialized mills for different wool types at scale.
Right.
And then there's cost, competing with established international operations, having the trained workforce. It's definitely a process. And these kinds of collaborations are stepping stones.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Some really fantastic news they shared. The annual wool bale sale.
Oh, yeah, that was impressive. 6th year running. And they sold all the wool from the Deventer flock.
That's 16 bales, right? 20 fleeces each.
16 bales plus about 25 loose yearling fleeces. All gone.
And the speed. They said it sold out in under 2 days. A record time.
Incredible, isn't it? It really says something about the demand for their wool and the community support they've built up. People clearly value that local, sustainable aspect.
It's just great knowing all that beautiful wool is being used by crafters and makers here instead of potentially going to waste.
Definitely. And they even held back a few fleeces to sell on the shearing day itself, which was May 3rd. A nice direct connection.
Such a positive outcome.
It really is. Okay, so the newsletter also touches on their wool sorting. They have 2 main rounds each year.
Right, the winter one in March, kind of getting ahead, and then the main one after shearing in May.
But this year, they mentioned the impact of Blauwtong disease, sadly.
Yeah, that meant fewer fleeces available this time around, and potential long-term effects, too, possibly.
It's a real worry, things like Blauwtong. It just underlines how vulnerable farming can be and how that ripples through to things like wool supply. Really highlights the need for resilient local systems.
True. But even with fewer fleeces, they still managed to sort around 50 in just one day back in March. That's pretty efficient.
It is. Carefully going through, removing bits of debris, short fibers under 3 centimeters.
And such a mix of breeds, too. Swarples, Swifter, Milk Chop, Clun Forest, Philly's Hide.
Each one bringing its own character to the wool, doesn't it? The dark Swarples, the perhaps coarser Philly's Hide, It adds to the richness.
And once sorted, it heads off to Alicewell, that mill near Hoogeveen they work with.
Yeah, and doing that winter sorting means they get it processed quicker, avoid the rush after the main shearing.
Smart. And the result was pretty substantial. 13 rolls of carded fleece and 23 cones of yarn.
That's a good haul. Ready for making things?
Exactly. Which brings us to the Deventer Woolliches. I love that name.
Me too. Little woolies, sort of.
There are these special little wool bits designed for hikers, cyclists, even for sensitive skin, like babies.
And what's lovely is how they're made. Small batches, completely by hand, using just a couple of yearling fleeces.
Sorting, rinsing, picking, carding, the whole 9 yards. They said it feels a bit like how they started out.
That handmade touch, yeah. Very nostalgic, but also just quality work.
And they recently had a group of 6 people get together to make a fresh batch. They even filled a new order for 30 from the local Wandelwinkel, the walking shop.
Oh, that's brilliant. Shows the local connection and that people really want these unique, carefully made things.
Definitely. Okay, another task they mentioned, making the wool dryer balls.
Ah, yes, the Wasserjoggerbollen. That's become a regular thing, hasn't it? Twice a year.
And they've streamlined it now, doing it on the morning of a spinning day.
Makes sense. Many hands make light work, right? They managed about 100 balls in just a few hours.
Wow. Then they get felted in a big washing machine and tumble dry, ready to go. A great sustainable alternative. Now, it wasn't all work. They also enjoyed the first Deventer Heerlijke Hansemarkt of the year. That was back in March.
Oh, those markets are fantastic. A chance to actually meet people, show off the yarns, the fleece, all the finished products.
Like the little Nuffle Cootie, the cuddle sheep.
Those are adorable. And shawls, socks. Lots of socks they mentioned.
Socks are always popular. And it sounds like they're really building a loyal following. Word of mouth is bringing people in.
That's the best kind of advertising, isn't it? When people love the product and tell others. And they've got more markets lined up.
Good for them. Then there was this really interesting inquiry from the Societe's Grols 110.
The Grols Mitten Society, yes.
Yeah.
Their whole focus is preserving the tradition of that specific Grols mitten.
And they're thinking about sustainability, looking to move away from yarns like acrylic.
And explore using wool instead, which is where DSW comes in.
Exactly. So DSW has been helping them look at colors, trying to match the traditional shades needed for the mittens.
But it sounds like there's a bit of a challenge there, getting the exact blue shades with hand dyeing methods compared to industrial processes.
Yeah, it highlights that difference, doesn't it? The slight variations you get with handcrafted versus the guaranteed consistency of industrial dyeing.
Part of the charm, perhaps, but maybe tricky for a traditional pattern.
For sure. But they're testing dyed yarns now to see how they knit up for the mittens. So more news on that to come, hopefully.
Definitely one to watch. And then, sticking with collaboration, the ongoing work with Volterra.
The Volterra Wolkerels, the wool pellets.
Such a brilliant example of circularity, taking waste wool, sheep manure, and turning it into organic fertilizer pellets.
It's incredibly clever, sustainable, local. Checks all the boxes.
And Volterra recently got their organic certification, which is huge news.
It really opens doors, doesn't it? For selling to organic gardeners, organic farms.
Absolutely. And you can already get the pellets at markets or arrange local pickup.
Plus, they mentioned an exciting new collaboration coming up with Holsto Tweenen in Ulst.
A big organic garden center. That's great for making the pellets even more locally available.
They called it a win-win-win-win-win situation.
I love that. It really captures the positive impact of this whole partnership, especially with the organic certification.
It really does. So hearing all this amazing stuff, I bet you, our listener, might be thinking, how can I see this for myself?
And the good news is you absolutely can, especially if you can get to the lovely city of Deventer.
They have 3 spots right in Deventer where you can find their products year-round. There's Jep on Broder and Strat 45.
Verde Flora 95.
And the Wandelwinkel, the walking shop we mentioned at Bergkirkplein 5. So definitely check those out if you're visiting Deventer.
It's a great way to actually see and feel the wool, the quality, and support what they're doing directly.
And keep an eye on their agenda for events, too. Obviously, the May 3rd shearing day is past now.
Right.
But they've got Zandwoord Stralt coming up on Saturday, May 24th, right there in Deventer.
And then from June, the Deventer Heerlijke Hansemarkt is back every last Saturday of the month on the Grote Kerkhof. Always a lovely market.
They also have their summer wool sorting dates listed as May 16th and 17th, and De Lente Fair in Diepenveen on Thursday, May 29th.
Lots happening. And a big one, they'll be at the Voldigen, the Wool Days, at the Openlook Museum in Arnhem. That's June 8th and 9th.
And they'll be there with Fiber Shed, too.
That sounds like a really worthwhile event. Learning about Dutch wool history, the wool cycle, workshops, a market. Great for anyone interested in wool.
Definitely. And one more, the open day at Het Blauhaus in Runerwold on Sunday, June 15th.
Phew. They are certainly busy and very present in the community.
They really are. It paints such a picture of dedication, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
So yes, we really do encourage you, if you get the chance, visit Deventer, check out those shops, maybe go to one of the markets or events.
See the products, feel the passion behind them, and maybe just take a moment to think about that journey from the sheep in the field to a beautiful, useful, handcrafted item.
Yeah, it's quite something. The care and dedication from everyone involved at DSW is just so evident.
And it really makes you appreciate these local initiatives, doesn't it? How sustainable practices can lead to things that are not just useful, but genuinely meaningful.
It does. Maybe it'll prompt you to look for similar things in your own area, or just think a bit more about where your textiles come from. A good sight to ponder.
Definitely.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Until next time.